Okay, I'm going to do a review on the Banggood Tiger. It's called a QT model Avanti 50mm. Although the manual comes and says Vektor 50mm. So anyways, it looks like it's just made and rebranded. In the case of Banggood, it's called QT Model 50mm Avanti. I'm just doing a review because I debated whether or not to buy this kit at $75, only because there wasn't a lot of information. Actually, there's hardly any information on the internet regarding it. And the only thing I could find was something that Banana Hobby had sold under the name Vektor. So anyways, this is what it includes. It includes the fuselage. It includes the main wing and the hardware for the main wing, which you need to assemble. Now, I did put in my own servos, and in this case, I just finished custom making a. Let me see here, the ESC. So I'm going to go ahead and go over that. But I'm using a Turnigy 40 amp ESC. I really like their product. And let's see, it comes with obviously the tail, the horizontal stabilizer, and the control horns and hardware for that as well. Now, something in the Banggood reviews, there's only 3 of them, but they didn't mention anything about whether there was the horizontal stabilizer control rods. I did see a picture which showed the landing gear, which I'm not going to use because it's going to be a belly lander. But nope, let's see. Here they are. So yes, the pictures don't say, or anybody said it included the control rods for these, for the elevators, because they were sitting inside the plane, but it does. Okay, so it does have everything you need to build this plane, minus the electronics. Okay, and I'm in the process of building this right now, so this will. Oh, the other thing too, it's all glued. There's no screws. So basically you have 4 pieces. This goes on that gets glued into there. And the main wing gets glued as well. Unfortunately, there's no screws for this model. It is a build it, glue it, you break it, no spare parts type of plane. And of course, it came with a cockpit, or rather, yeah, cockpit canopy. Now, there's what it looks like inside. It does have a place to put a servo and have a steerable front nose gear. Again, I'm not going to use it, so I'm not going to put it in. It does have a place back here for your elevator servo. It goes right here on this side. This is what I'm using to put it together. I'm also upgrading it from a 3S, which is what it's designed for, up to a 4S, which I've done with my other 50mm as well. I use, as far as 50mm, I use the X-Fly. These are high performance EDFs. I have them in all my 50mm jets. Some that I've bought as kits, like this one. It's a high KV. It's a, what is it, a 4600? Yeah, 4600, 2627 KV 4600, which is a bit high. So it will go through batteries. It definitely sucks the batteries down, but man, it's super high performance. High wattage, high amperage, and this thing moves. I have this in the Banana Hobby Viper, which Banggood has it under, what did they call it? It is a Viper, not an Avanti, but I think it might be QT Viper, but it originally was for Banana Hobby. And I have it in that, and that thing is super fast, does over 100 miles an hour. I suspect with this 4S EDF, it will, in this, it may do 100 miles an hour. So anyways, now these come with a shroud. over it. So, and you know, normally I have to cut these out and shave it down. So this time I decided just to cut it off because it's kind of in the way. So I dremeled it off, and I'll be damned, it actually just fits in there perfectly. So there you can see right there with that shroud, that intake shroud cut off, it fits right in the space right here, the recessed area right here, perfectly. And so I should have probably done that with all my other ones, and I probably have this same 4-cell EDF and I don't know, 5 or 6 other 50mm jets. And like I said, it's super fast, super quiet, man. The thing is balanced so well. Really quiet on my Banana Hobby Viper, 50mm Viper. I can barely even hear it. You can't even tell if that it's got a EDF in it. It's so quiet, so perfectly balanced. Anyways, so I cut that shroud off. Not the cleanest cut. It does kind of go down here a little bit, but man, that's what I'd recommend. If you decide to buy this kit, get this. It's not very expensive, and then put it in, and then cut the shroud off, and it'll fit right in there nicely. All right. Let's see here. So some of the stuff I want to talk about here. Well, before I move on to this, let's go ahead and move on to what I do as far as the build, because nothing is included except for these foam pieces right here, here, and the hardware is included. So this is what I did, and I do this to all my planes when I build them. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take shipping tape and put it on the leading edge of the main wing and the horizontal stabilizers. So there's shipping tape here, here, and it just wraps around here and here. Also did it here and here. The other thing I do is I take Blenderm, because these are just foam hinges, and I put Blenderm here, put a piece there, piece there, piece there, and here and here. That'll help strengthen the foam hinges. I've had some of these kind of, especially when you're taking a model designed to go slower, and you make it a high performance plane and it's going much faster, it puts more of a strain on there. So I've had some in the past kind of you can see where it's starting to wear and separate. But I've been doing this for years now, and it works great. So I Blenderm this, I Blenderm the ailerons as well. You can kind of see it there and here and here and here. So tape the fronts, put Blenderm on there, fortify it, make it stronger. The other thing I did on this, and I will tell you that it didn't say in the manual or anybody reviewed it, but I was going, wow, this wing seems a little flimsy. Is there even a carbon fiber rod? Well, you can put it up to a light, and you could see there is a carbon fiber rod that goes through here. So that's good. It definitely, that's great. But I'll tell you what, I use on these planes Gorilla heavy duty packing tape. Okay. And I ended up putting a strip here, a strip here and here. Now it barely even bends at all. It's completely stiff. So I put shipping tape all the way across from here to here, and the same on this side. And that'll significantly strengthen this wing, this main wing, because the carbon fiber rod only goes to about here and here. Let's see here. Yeah. So it ends right there. It only goes from here to here. It doesn't, there's nothing to strengthen it beyond this point out and this point out. This shipping tape now it's heavy duty shipping tape, man. It's stiff. And I swear by doing this, because I've done this on my other 50 millimeter planes that were 3S, designed for 3S, that are all of mine are 4S. So, and yeah, I don't get any wing flexing. So I would recommend doing that. Now, I did put in Hobby King's 9-gram servos. I've been using them for decades, and I think they're really good. They're cheap, and I just don't have high failure with them. They're just good servos, man. So, anyways, I think they're only like $5, but they have a metal. One of the gears is metal inside, but otherwise it's not a metal gear servo, and it's an analog one. Okay. So that's enough about that. I'm getting to the point now where it's ready to put together and glue it. But I wanted to, before I did that, I wanted to talk about and do this review, this build review on this. So there you go. Now let's talk about the electronics here. Okay. So again, I'm using the X-Fly high performance EDF. And I fed it through and measured it out to where the EDF, and I'm using a Turnigy Plush 32 40 amp ESC. Really like these. I've been using these for Turnigy ESCs for years, since I started flying back in 2009. And it's really good. And this is a 32-bit. So anyways, so I fed this in here. And all right, and took a look at where I was going to have to, what I was going to have to do to make this work. Now I will tell you that this will slide under the tubes that are used for the control rods for the elevator, and it'll go up as far as this. This is where it ends, because it's too. There's a wall right here. And I ended up cutting the ends of the EDF so that, or rather the wires here on the ESC, so that it can, and then soldered on some 3.5 millimeter connectors to mate up with the connectors on the EDF. So that's custom cut and custom made. I had to lengthen the ESC's battery lead because it only went to here, and so I soldered on. And it's 14 gauge. So I soldered on some 14 gauge wire onto here to extend it so that I can have my battery, anywhere up in here. I'm not certain where the battery is going to sit yet because I haven't balanced it yet. But anyways, this should be long enough now. And then that gets attached to the receiver. Okay, so that's where I'm at with this. I did all the soldering yesterday. I cut this shroud off, and I'm going to hot glue this in, connect it to the ESC, and I didn't really have to do any shaving this time, which is unusual. Always having to shave, but this thing seems like it fit in there perfectly. And then, so I'm going to finish the video once I get this glued in, the ESC in. I will then come back to you and figure out where my balance point is. I don't know if this is going to be installed up front or in the back or where it's going to go. So anyways, that's where I'm at so far with this. Okay, so I got the receiver in. I got the X-Fly EDF hooked up, and using, at least with this receiver, it comes with a binding plug. So I think most of you probably, if you're buying a kit, you probably already know how to do all this stuff, but I'll just show you. So you plug the binding loop plug into here where it says battery bind. Okay, you plug it in here, it'll start flashing. Go to the model that you set up in your transmitter, and you go to bind, Say yes, and then go over here and click on bind, and it bound right up for like a $19 receiver as opposed to the expensive Spectrums, which I've been using. And then once it's bound up, detach the battery, pull the binding plug out. Oops. So that's all bound up. I did find that when I went to test it, so I'll just do this right now. When I went to test the EDF, you got to make sure you got these wires correctly connected. So after it was bound, I was able to spin it up, and it was blowing air out the front. So you just got to take any two and reverse them. So I just took these two and I flipped them. Now I'm getting now the air is exhausting out the back, which is what it's supposed to do. So now I am ready to start gluing this thing in and getting that glued in or attached. And then I'm probably going to go ahead and I might just put let's see here. I might just leave it there. I don't know. I guess normally I like to take the masking tape and I cover this channel up so that it doesn't get a lot of disrupted air, so that it's coming in and it's clean all the way through to the EDF. I'm not certain, because these things are kind of in the way, not certain what I'm going to do about that. I'll probably go under, since it looks like I can get it'd be under and then it'd be over here. So I'm not certain what I'm going to do here. Maybe just do this front part. But anyways, I'll be back. Oh, that's right. The other thing I was going to show you. Cool thing about these ESCs from Turnigy, the 32s, is definitely buy this programming card. I've bought them throughout the years. I bought them years and years ago when they had the first one, and then they came out with the 32 series. Now they have the 32 version 1.11, I think it is. Yeah. Revision 1.1, which has a lot more parameters that you can set. So anyways, and I'll show you how that works. So I'm just going to unplug the power, unplug the receiver, plug the, this is coming from the ESC, plug that into the program port. Make sure that your negative, which is the dark colored one, or the brown one in my case, and the lighter color, which is orange. A lot of times they're usually black and white. The lighter color goes to the signal, the S port. Okay, then plug your battery in. And something I'm going to do on this right now, and the reason why I'm showing you is because I need to make a change on here. Okay. So you hit this is the down arrow, this is across, and then enter if you make a change. So right now it's saying that the battery type is a Lipo. That is correct. I have some that are LIHV, high voltage. If that's the case, I would move this to LIHV, but it is a Lipo, so I'm just going to use Lipos here. I'm going to hit down. Cutoff voltage is set for defaults at 3.2. That's fine. Lithium cell is set to auto, so it'll auto detect how many cells. The timing is set for 18. That seems fine. I think I'm just going to set it to auto and hit enter. And go to brake selection. That's set for normal, which is fine. Startup power is set for 25. Auto restoration. Let's see, what does that say? Time. I just leave those alone. I don't know what that does. Here's the main thing I need to change it. It says normal, but it's got, and this is under a motor type. So there's normal, which I would leave for a prop plane. Disk type, I'm not certain, but EDF is the setting. So I'm moving that one over. So now it's on EDF. I'll hit enter. Now normally it gives me Maybe my card is starting to go bad, but normally it gives me a confirmation tone, but let's just see what happens when we scroll through this. Let's see, I made a change on this one. Nope, it didn't work. There we go. Maybe that wasn't in all the way. Okay, so let's see here. So normal EDF. There we go. And what was the other thing I was going to change? Oh, timing to auto. And it's at 18 degrees right now, so I'm going to go over to auto. Okay, now let's scroll down and see. Yep, now EDF cutoff type, or rather, excuse me, motor type is EDF. And timing is set for auto right here. And that's it. Okay, so we'll disconnect the battery, and that's how easy it is to program the ESC. Otherwise, you got to do this thing, you know, the transmitter programming, which is a pain in the ass. This is all just visually much easier to do and use. All right, so that's that. We have the motor set up, and I will tell you, you know, if you have an EDF and you're using the Turnigy 32-bit, you're going to want to set that to EDF, because I had it, one of these, I forgot to do it, and it was wigging out the EDF. So now that it's set to EDF, it should work fine. So let's see here. Plug this back into the signal side up, or the light colored wire up. Okay, it's plugged into throttle. Let's plug that battery in. Yep, the startup, it's really good. The startup smooth. When it was set to normal, it kind of went, it kind of stuttered before it did it. Now it just goes right into it. Nice. So that's it for this section, and I'll probably just come back, because I'm going to go ahead and start putting gluing the motor in, making sure that it's directing it straight back. I'll get this secured, the ESC secured in that channel, and get this. I'll need to figure out, once those two things are in, I'll need to figure out where the battery is going to get placed. I mean, I guess I probably will just get the motor in, get the ESC secured, and actually just glue the parts on, because I'll be done with this internal stuff. So we'll just glue the tail on and the main wing on, and I'll come back after that. And that'll probably be tomorrow. Okay, well, it has been glued together. The main wing is glued on. The horizontal stab, the vertical is on. And it has been, and they got the electronics, the receivers in there. There's the servo for the elevator. And at least with the 1400, which, all right. With this 1400, which I'm using on the Arrows T33, the Arrows L39, and the Arrows Viper, I'm using it for this QT model, or Vektor, depending on where you bought it, Avanti. And so this battery, actually, there's little nubs right here where you put the servo. Because I'm not using a servo, all my stuff are belly landers. I did not put a servo in there, or the hardware. And at least for this configuration, this is where the battery sits. So there were a couple nubs right here. I just cut them out. And this battery sits perfectly all the way to the very front of that channel. And so fits perfectly just right in there, and then connects right there. So, doing so, gives me a balance at 55, because I think it's, let me see here. Yeah, so it's 50 to 60. There's the range right there, and I'm right smack dab in the middle. I'm using 55 as the CG with the battery all the way up front here. So here it is. Here's the build. I decided I was going to do this because I just couldn't get any information on this plane. Trying to find it on YouTube, and there's only 3 reviews on Banggood, so just isn't a whole lot of information. So I decided to put something together for y'all that are looking at this kit at $75 on Banggood. I may also end up putting a 50mm light ring, afterburner ring on here, since it will fit fairly close. So I did use the X-Fly, which is right there, and that sits in there nicely. So it's ready for its maiden. Let's see. One other thing. Yeah, it definitely has greater than 1-to-1 power to weight ratio. Definitely has greater than 1-to-1. This thing will go straight up. I am going to do a watt test, and I will show you the results. We'll see here. Well, I guess I could do this now. Okay. We'll see what the wattage is. I did put a 40 amp in here, so let's see here. So there you go. I will say that I don't really like, these things are pretty long and pretty thin, and hopefully it doesn't bow out. I don't know. Yeah, you can kind of see it's bowed a little bit. I might put a carbon fiber tube over it. I don't know. Not certain on that. But for now, let's just go ahead and do a watt test, a power test on this right here. Okay, so it is pushing, this X-Fly is pushing, it's 41.56 amps, peak amps, 647 peak watts of power, and the voltage dropped down to 15.23 voltage is what it was drawing on this battery here. So there you go. That's on a freshly charged 1400 milliamp 65C Turnigy Lipo, and I might try what a 22. I think that 22 is just going to be, well, I think I'll be too heavy. I think I could probably fit it by pushing it all the way to the back, but I just think that it's going to be too heavy for this little plane. So I'll just stick with the 1400s that I know have been working in these 50mm planes. All right, I will say over the arrows here, you have the 2 intakes here, but it's got a nice big intake right here. It appears that it's definitely got a lot of room to breathe. So this will be interesting. I might have to put a data logger in GPS logger and do a speed run with this and see how fast it goes. But at first, I just need to see how well it flies. I was able to, before gluing the wing on here, I was able to go in and get some masking tape and taped over the whole top of this, where the wires, the EDF wires, are going back to the EDF and coming up here. So that's all nice and smooth inside there. It's all been taped down and definitely smooth the air turbulence should be kept at a minimum, except for those wire tubes that are in there, but it's better than it was. So, all right, this is it. It's ready for a maiden.